just short before I stumbled into the program, that was reflecting with myself and thinking, hey, do I want to continue to be an employed worker that works for a enterprise and have that sense of security, as Moza said, but at the same time, don't construct something that is your own. Then I thought to myself, let's take on the challenge.
In this episode of BlockPreneurs, our guest Arian Albazi has a remarkable story to tell, coming from Sweden to Dubai to start a blockchain journey here with us at Excellence Swiss Blockchain. Stay tuned and do not miss out this inspiring episode. Can you tell us a bit about where you grew up?
So I was born and raised in Sweden by Iraqi parents. So yeah, basically my father has been living in Sweden يعني جيل كامل, a whole generation is like 42 years. So
Wow,
in the
mashallah.
beginning when the war between Iraq and Iran broke out, he left. So yeah, I was born in Sweden, and in our closest area we grew up with the cousins.
So I want to know what brought you from Sweden to Dubai, because you came here recently. It wasn't a long time ago.
No, exactly. So my background, I have a background as a profession in civil engineering. So I've been doing work with infrastructure projects, and I have done also building projects.
Okay.
So just to give you a hint, among one of the projects I was working with was a state-of-the-art new hospital. So the Swedish survey authority, they do surveys every now and then. They come up to the conclusion that Stockholm was growing so fast that we needed a new hospital. And the commitment our company did in that project was that we did the ventilation in the operating theater.
Okay.
But I didn't really enjoy my profession. It wasn't something that I really dreamt of to become.
Yeah.
You know how it is in Arab
Arab
families.
parents, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And either an engineer or a doctor.
Exactly,
Or a
exactly.
lawyer.
So I was pushed to become something. So I stumbled into engineering. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. And fast forward 12 years, I came to a point, and then we are in the mid of Corona.
Yeah, pandemic, the turning point for so many people.
Exactly. Corona became my turning point. So I came to the point that I was like, okay, I need, either I do a really hard change in my life, or I just am where I am now and
All or
continue.
nothing, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought Dubai was as a city and Emirate in general is still Middle East, but with the comfort and standards of Europe. In some fields, even better than Europe. So yeah, the choice fell onto Dubai, and I had been in Dubai previously, like 6-7 times. So the city wasn't new for me. But living here is different, obviously,
yeah, living
than
is different
vacation.
than visiting. Yeah, for sure.
And when I came here, I worked with my Swedish work, so it was still within the pandemic, so we were allowed to work
remotely. Yeah.
Exactly. And when the first half year of my stay here in Dubai, I was working, and then the story is that you guys went to Sweden.
The reverse.
The reverse, exactly. You just spin the globe and put your finger on a random country and it fell to Sweden.
You know us, we love the snow.
Exactly. So when you arrived in Sweden, it was
It was in the middle of a snowstorm.
Exactly.
Everyone was miserable except
for us.
Exactly. You were hyped over the snow. Actually, that snowstorm was among the worst snowstorms in Stockholm. Yeah, within the 10-year period.
Really? I would have
Yeah.
imagined, like, I didn't feel like it was that bad. I would have imagined it to be so much worse. Like, if it was the worst one in 10 years.
So yeah, there you met the reason I stumbled into blockchain is there you met my cousin.
Diyar,
Diyar, yeah, exactly. And
it was actually a very random conversation. Like we were talking, we were in the car talking, and he was just asking me like, what do you do? And I like was telling him about the kind of software development that I do, and he was telling me about his like own business and the innovations that he does within his business as well.
Exactly.
So it was like a very intriguing conversation, just an exchange of ideas, and he like connected to me on LinkedIn. It was just so random. Like I did not expect to hear back from him exactly a week later, and I didn't expect that he would be like in Dubai a week later. So he messaged me and he was like, I'm in Dubai and I want to talk more about like what you do, like the training program that we have at ESB. And for the listeners who don't know about it or haven't heard about it yet, so we have an advanced training blockchain program, an advanced blockchain training program. Sorry, I said that wrong. So basically, he wanted to learn more about what we do in that program. And he said that he was going to introduce me to you. And then we met.
The rest is history. Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I was working remotely here in Dubai to my Swedish office. So previously I had my experience with blockchain was as many other was with cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
And cryptocurrencies, when I have advanced in the program, I know it's just one layer of applications that can be developed by blockchain.
So I want to ask, like before you came to the meeting that we had where we started to initially talk about blockchain, you just had an idea about cryptocurrency. Was that it? Or what pushed you to basically come to the meeting in the first place?
Yeah, what pushed
convinced?
me actually was Noura's story that she had something that she didn't
Did you know
want.
that before the meeting or during the meeting? Like the one we had initially?
No, it was, I think it was after.
I
Yeah,
was
I think
after,
it
so-
was after. It
'Cause
must
I
have been
met you
after.
first.
You met me first,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
It
I
must
want to
have been
know,
after.
like before you even sat down with Noura and her story
Yeah.
that inspired you, what, like initially, you don't know us. I only met Diyar and Diyar was telling you about us. So what appealed to you in that moment to come to that initial meeting?
Yeah, what appealed to me was that I did some just random research about blockchain, and I figured out that it's applicable in many different fields. So this can be a door opener for me, and if I don't take this step, I'm gonna still continue as an engineer.
Yeah.
So back to what I mentioned in the beginning, that I needed to have a really hard turn point. So I saw blockchain as that key opportunity,
Golden
exactly,
opportunity.
to open doors. I mean, because it's applicable in several fields. It's most definitely going to open doors
Did
for
it
me.
give you that sense of comfort to know that you don't have to walk into this, like, you know how when you chose engineering as a profession, right? You apply to a university and you know exactly what you would do and what domain you would be in. Did it give you comfort that in blockchain technology you come in and then explore what domain works for you? Was that part of the
Not
thought
really,
process?
because I saw how broad it was, so I didn't have an idea, a clear idea, what within the blockchain I was going
Yeah.
to
So
explore.
it was like an exciting opportunity to see a new path that's different than what you were in.
Exactly.
And it's not as rigid as things are typically done. Like when you sign up to a course normally, you know exactly like
What is
which
going to
domain,
come.
yeah, and
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you know. So this is a bit more.
I think Arian is at the stage now where he's so deep in the blockchain where he's looking for that course or
And
standard.
smart contracts. And yeah,
He's
yeah.
like-
I was asking Noura yesterday with the smart contracts and with what was it? It was flash loans.
Flash
Yeah.
loans.
The hardest part of the smart contract. I was going straight
He's
on
like,
it.
I'm interested in flash loans. I was like, you chose one of the hardest things in blockchain in applying smart contracts.
You have to aim for the star if you're going to
Yeah,
get
the
to
higher
the
the
moon.
risk, the higher the pay.
Exactly.
So let's go back to the second meeting that you had, and this is when you came across and met Noura.
Yeah, in
And
the
this
institution.
is when, in the institution where you met her and you got to know her story, and you just mentioned that it inspired you before I did a U-turn on the conversation.
Exactly. I was really touched by her story because I could relate a lot in my life.
How? Relate how?
Relate in the sense that even though I had a profession, I was an engineer, I had a job, everything on the outside looked good, but in the inner part of me wasn't
You still
that good.
felt something was missing.
Exactly. That something was missing. That thing has been haunting me ever since I became
An
engineer.
engineer, yeah.
So yeah. So and I think that a lot of people struggle with these feelings, but not so many take the courage to step out of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I think that is the hardest part. And I aim and hope that I am a motivational inspiration for people in my position that want to take a new step, a new course in life.
Just to explore it. Like the minimum you can do is just explore what other opportunities are there. Rather than just like staying in the same place and having this feeling constantly that I'm missing out on something, but I don't know what.
Yeah, it's never going to be something easy if it's going to be something different and something that is worth pursuing. It will have its challenges, you know? You can't expect a smooth sail.
Of course.
You know?
And I can just tell the past year that I have pursued this challenge. At periods, it has been really tough, you know, because I came to a new country without any people surround. I mean, I know people here, but it's not like having the family around you that can push you. Exactly. And to give you, in Arabic we say معنويات يعني. So it has been challenging, and at points I sometimes like, okay, I'm going to give up, but then the inner part of me say no, just push on.
There's still a fighter.
There's still a fighter, exactly. And I just want to shout out to my family in Sweden. Even though they push me, but they do it remotely on FaceTime and WhatsApp. But still, they are a big support for me.
Did they encourage you to take on
yes.
this venture?
I mean, in the beginning, my dad and mom was like, يعني بين مثل ما يقولون.
Was it because they didn't know about the technology, or was it
no,
because
it isn't about the technology, but it's changing path as a whole. You know, they are from a different generation. We are from a different generation. In their generation, you become something, and you work with it until the day you die. Basically, it is like
no, that's so true.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But in our generation, you know, we are flooded with so much interesting paths that if we work with the same work our whole lives, it's not something normal.
Yeah.
It becomes very boring and static, and
Not only boring. I mean, the society as a whole expects you to change the path because we live in a different world.
it's very dynamic and
Very
it's constantly
dynamic,
More
exactly.
dynamic.
You have to adapt to the
The world is
dynamics.
connected. It's like no longer you're within like a smaller community.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and the world is in that sense is so much smaller today.
Yes.
and with
exactly.
the with the powers of technology that we have, the access that we see, it's constantly out with the old and with the new, and there's always something else moving around you that pushes you to kind of change what you have.
And you have so much very very near to your hands.
A simple example is the pre-COVID era. It was like working remotely. No, you need to be present physically in an
Exactly.
office. And now after COVID, it's just okay. We can work from a different country. Like remotely became actually a demand from many people. They don't want to be present physically in an office.
Exactly, and that's also the case in Sweden. Most fields that don't require. I mean, for my sister, she works as a dentist. She has to be on the spot. But as an engineer, you can work remotely. You have your laptop. You can
not
work from the
necessarily.
moon if you have internet connection over there.
If you could, you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is the interesting part, that post-COVID era changed so many things. And back to what you mentioned, that the world is dynamic and the world is so much smaller today. I mean, when I was little and traveling to America, it was like traveling to another galaxy. But today is just a piece of cake.
But you brought up a very interesting point, because yes, the older generation might find it a lot harder to kind of accept the changes that are coming our way and the changes that are being paved by the current generation. We talked about this before, like how, like between us, like how it's so hard sometimes for our parents' generation to accept that we no longer want to have, not all of us, of course, but a lot of us no longer want to have an office job and the same sense of security that was very valid for them, which is like a salary at the end of the month.
It was their dream.
Yeah, for us now, that sadly is not even enough anymore. Like having a salary at the end of every month is comfortable, but is it
doesn't give you
matching
satisfaction?
Yeah, it doesn't give you the satisfaction a lot of the time, and does it even match the cost of living that we are, facing right now? A lot of the time it doesn't. It feels very hard to increase that source of income as well. So it's not the same as it was for them, and that sometimes makes it hard for them to kind of accept that we are going in a different way.
Exactly, and I have had a lot of discussions. I always have discussions with my family, and I have pushed that to clear the picture for them, that it's a generational thing. It's just like their generation wasn't like the grandparents' generation.
Yeah, completely different. Come
exactly,
on,
exactly.
Even the number of professions that were possible for like my grandparents, like what I have right now and what you have right now. Like,
exactly,
different.
Exactly. So basically, I have I don't ignore it, what their views are.
Of course, yeah.
But it's always in the background as a background noise,
Yeah. So let's go into
blockchain.
More
because that's
into
a topic,
blockchain.
yeah.
Just like in the respect of you've been now in like learning about the technology for some time. Do you feel you're finding yourself with learning about blockchain, or you're still exploring it?
I'm still exploring because the interesting thing, if you just rewind the tape a little bit and go back to the different modules within the program that I have been going through, the first module was a very interesting, and what it was really grabbing my attention was the I call it the deep brain scan.
The cognitive development.
The cognitive development test
Training,
that they do. And it was, I had done it before in Sweden with Mensa and different organizations, but this was completely different.
How so?
It was so much deeper and so much more extensive. It was, I think it was for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I just did cognitive test.
Yeah.
And that really grabbed my attention because, as I said, there is so many opportunities out there, but here I got like a push with the brain scan and with Dr. Asma. I think her name is
Dr. Asma.
Dr. Asma. And she do an analysis of your strength and your weaknesses, and then
your cognitive abilities,
and then the Excellent Swiss do a tailor-made recommendation in which path you could succeed,
in which like domain or industry.
Exactly. And that really was an interesting part of the program.
It's
really
interesting you bring that up, because I was going to ask you, you could learn about blockchain in so many different places around the world, right? So Europe is doing a lot right now. Asia is doing, like Southeast Asia is doing a lot right now as well. And so is North America and South America as well, as also, like all around the world. The point is that there are so many different options where you could poach into the blockchain market, you could learn about blockchain technology. So, and given that you do come from Europe, is that the selling point that differentiated between the education about blockchain you could have gotten in Europe as opposed to learning here with Excellent Swiss Blockchain?
I really, because I didn't have an idea to jumping onto blockchain before. I have done this research now when I am a student at Excellent Swiss, and what they offer in Sweden is not a complete program, but rather courses. So, for example, I was typing in Stockholm University blockchain, and I got like 3 or 4 courses in different fields, smart contracts, and in blockchain and cryptocurrency, and so on. So there isn't really a complete package that takes you from A to
the end.
To the end, exactly.
To infinity.
To infinity, exactly.
Depends on how far you want to go with this.
Exactly. It's it really is a jungle, you know. It's I have been looking on YouTube, and there is so much to be explored. As Moza says, even in South America, blockchain is becoming, with the inflation rates skyrocketing.
Yeah.
So people have been doing micropayments for on the individual level to combat the hyperinflation, for example, in Venezuela.
By using cryptocurrencies.
Exactly. So it's a field that is enormous.
So what I get is, what you find here is that, first of all, you go through these cognitive assessments that you find the most interesting, to understand how your brain, which tells us your interests, your passions, your capabilities, and to defining where exactly in blockchain you should be focused.
Exactly.
Because again, it's a technology that can be applied in like so many different industries. And from then, what is the ultimate goal that you will get here that you didn't see somewhere else?
Actually, it's coincidentally merged into my kind of side hustle I'm doing with e-commerce. So I didn't mention to the Excellent Swiss
Administration,
to the
basically.
administration that I was doing e-commerce. And then when the result came and it was suggested that I will work with digital marketing, it was the most beautiful merging. It was really, yeah.
It just fell right into the
exactly.
It felt, yeah. So you can say that the results are accurate. It comes, even like when you're not disclosing them, you go through these scientifically proven assessments. Whatever comes will be exactly on how you feel from like the core. Like what's your interest, what's your passion, the recommendation we give.
Because it's based on scientific tests, so it's
always trust science.
Yeah, exactly. Science is obviously a very trustworthy source. So when you take these tests, which are around 6 hours before doing, like, it's different than the cognitive abilities training, sorry, yeah, you were doing at the start. So before even joining the program, we took you in for like 6 hours to do those cognitive scientific based tests, which really does dig very deep into like your traits and your skills, behavioral, educational,
basically everything.
Yeah, basically everything. Yeah. It's like a full scan. And then based on that,
it measures more than, I would say,
140 variables.
Yeah, almost 140 variables.
Almost, yeah. So it's a very deep and very advanced test. So I think a lot of people do not expect, and we've heard this a couple of times, by the way, like from our students who joined, that before they joined, they came out with a result in that test that brought something that was already inside. They might have not mentioned it to us, but because we're doing it scientifically, it just comes out, you know? It gives out like the actual scientific-based results, right? So This is why it gave you the actual, interest that you had.
Exactly.
Another element that the program has is it's business oriented. Yeah. So
exactly,
we like whoever joins the program, it's not only academic, it's also the business element. So did you have an interest that you want to do a business, you want to go into entrepreneurship before being part of the program, or this came in when you went through the program, you're like, okay, I can also do a business of my own?
Actually, it came just short before I stumbled into the program, that I was reflecting with myself and thinking, hey, do I want to continue to be an employed worker that works for a enterprise and have that sense of security, as Moza said, but at the same time, don't construct something that is your own. Then I thought to myself, let's take on the challenge. Let's jump onto becoming an entrepreneur. It's a different mindset because I am used to be an employed, having like 15 years of experience in the engineering field. So for me, it's a completely different mindset. And
how is it different? Like, what do you think?
It's different because you have to, I mean, it's like going onto the savannah. You have to be, basically it is like, it's maybe hard to say that, but it's the environment in business is most of the time, not all of the time, is eat or be eaten. Yeah, but it's a fierce competition. You have to, because it's a world that is so dynamic. We live in such a dynamic world. You have to adapt to new trends, new competition, and so on and so forth. Being an employed, I can just relate to you do your design drawings, you send it to the contractual entrepreneur that want the drawings, and that's it. You receive your salary.
And then
you don't have to think
even if
about
you didn't send it, sometimes you still receive the salary.
Exactly.
If you're late in sending it. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, you set your own targets, and there isn't anyone pushing you other than yourself. You have to push yourself.
Yeah. And the race has been, for my part, the past year has been quite lonely for my part, because, as I said, I don't have the family physically around me, although they push me in the right direction all the time.
It's interesting you use the term lonely, because I feel like I see this a lot in entrepreneurship, because a lot of the time, for you to have a successful venture, a successful business, you have to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to be there from the start till the end, all the details, like what skills you have to build and how you have to employ them and how you come out with the projects you come out with or the businesses you come out with. It can be a very lonely venture sometimes, so I understand that. But like you said, in the end of the day, it's either you do something of your own or you stay doing what everyone else is doing.
Exactly, and don't complain.
Yeah.
Do it and don't complain. So I thought to myself, I don't want to be in that spot and complaining all the time. Let's make the change by myself.
That's a very brave thing, to be honest. Not a lot of people have it in them.
And as I said in the beginning of the pod, I hope to act as an inspiration for people that doubt, because I think the hardest part is to step out of the comfort zone.
For sure.
When you have done that, the rest is just patience and just to be consequent.
Consistent.
So how is, like, now that you've decided to step out, how is it your learning journey of a complex technology of blockchain? Like how is that going with you when you're learning the core foundation and sciences about blockchain technology?
Yeah, I mean, I can relate. It's to start with is to say it's nothing is impossible, but you have to be prepared that it's a lot of information to be taken in, and you have to like sort out all the information to just pick out the best parts. And for me as an engineer, I can't really relate to that, because the mindset, the skills in engineering is different. It's not so much information. You train to have the ability to solve problems. Here it's like, I compare it more to like medicine. It's huge amounts of information that you need to just take in.
Yeah.
So
very interesting analogy, to be honest. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I mean, in engineering, you learn the concepts of using abstract theories, and then you just do your exercises and solve the problems.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but in the field of medicine, for example, it's like many books, and it's same in blockchain.
It's so many different sciences.
Exactly.
And then how you maximize that is very important.
What's the most challenging part that you faced throughout this journey?
The most challenging part is, for my part, is the fact that you have to have patience. I mean, the money isn't coming
tomorrow,
overnight. Exactly. You have to be consequent and have a consistency and be patient. Patience is the most important part, and patience has been really a hard point for me. It has been challenging because I want to stand on my feet ASAP.
Naturally. Yeah, exactly, I think that's a natural reaction to it.
that has been the hardest part for me. And to have also a time period or time frame that stretches beyond a year, because it takes time.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when I was accepting the challenge, I was like, yeah, within 1 month, I'm going to stand on my feet, but that's far from the reality. Yeah.
What's giving you the patience? Like, it's so difficult, but you like, we all agree that you need to be patient.
Yeah.
What motivates you to be patient?
What
My
keeps the
faith.
fighter going?
Your faith, okay.
Yeah, my faith. Stay humble and stay connected to God.
Yeah, that's
Do your part, and the rest is on God.
It's a very
Alhamdulillah.
interesting viewpoint. Yeah. I was gonna ask something. So we talked about you finding out that, you know, e-commerce was actually the right path you were on because digital marketing came into play with blockchain technology.
Exactly.
Can you tell us a bit more about how digital marketing works with blockchain technology?
I have been studying at the side of the program how digital how blockchain can be implemented in digital marketing, and there is an example of web browser that, for example, this is just one idea, a web browser that blocks the big enterprises like Facebook and Google, and where you can choose the type of advertisement you
get
want.
exposed to.
Exactly. And on top of that, you get paid for watching the advertisement in the form of tokens that you can convert. So that is one interesting aspect that I'm going to just dig in and see what's underneath the surface.
Yeah, it is a very interesting way of implementing the technology.
The thing that you mentioned, and I think it's not only with blockchain, but with all the technologies that we're seeing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all these technology will come into play for the next era of digitalization that involves an important element, which is personalization. Users now with these technologies will have the choice to decide on what they want to have and what they want to see. Because what's happening now, if you open any social media, you're just flooded with ads.
Oh my God, yes.
And then, like, sometimes you have no choice on the algorithm. Like, you can work it or tweak it. I know
it
that
drives me insane when I open my Instagram timeline, feed, whatever. 'Cause I'm so confused from so many apps.
50% is ad.
Yes, like it's like one post of someone I know, and then it's like this random ad, and it's even random people sometimes, and then I have to do like a double take. I'm like, do I even follow this person?
Exactly.
And it annoys me
It didn't
so
become
much.
anymore that, you know, like Instagram used to be family and friends. It's no longer family and friends.
It became family, friends, businesses, the entire world.
Yeah, exactly.
your
So yeah,
feed.
that's the beauty of what we're going to see with technology is personalization.
Yeah.
And that's also
And respecting your choice.
And that's the element of our program as well.
Yeah.
We do believe in personalization, and all the core sciences that we have, we put them in place to develop personalized programs for our students, because again, there is the one standard fits for all is no longer
applicable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's a very interesting, honestly, example that you bring on, because a lot of what we do in technology takes away the choice that we have and the way we do things. Our data, the way we protect it, you can't even completely protect it anymore, because it's so complex the way it can be taken away from you and used and profited on you exactly,
behalf.
and you're like completely out of the equation. But then
they know more about you than you know about yourself.
Like I'm pretty sure, you know, like I will really discover myself somewhere in that data that exists out there, I'm sure. But like you said, like we can use this technology to take back control over the data and what we are exposed to. And I think this is one of the biggest like topics out there that people are, struggling with. It's just like we no longer have protection and control over how our data is being used. And blockchain technology, gives us that in some sense once it's being applied in the correct form.
Exactly.
So digital marketing is going to be is going to be one of those fields that benefit a lot from the way we control data.
Exactly.
What other application have you seen out there?
For example, one interesting field that has adopted blockchain is I'm certain that people have heard about Walmart. So
Yeah.
Walmart has been a real pusher in blockchain technology. So they are among the enterprises that has adopted it mostly. And one interesting part is the groceries they sell. For example, if you buy a kilo of tomato, you can have it traced on the blockchain technology from the moment the farmer put the seed in the soil until it comes to your table. And the whole journey in between from logistics to the coming to the Walmart store and finally when you buy it. So that is really a powerful. I mean, people might think, what's that necessary for? But it is, because if we have a contamination, which happens every now and then, you don't have to stop the whole supply chain. You can go directly to the source that is infected by the contamination and rule them out from the equation.
Yeah, saves a lot of cost and time.
Exactly. And most importantly, not only cost and time, but saves food.
Yeah.
Which is in our part of the world. I mean, I grew up in Europe and you in the Emirates. We haven't have that concern, but a lot of people around the world struggles to just have a meal each day. So, and there is a lot of, I've seen also around that so much food is wasted when it can feed so many stomachs.
So
Yeah.
traceability is definitely one of the seller points of blockchain technology. It's no longer for consumers about seeing just the final product, but you can see the story behind from
Be
where,
involved.
the raw material as well.
Yeah.
Like you see the final product and the journey from the raw material all the way to the product you're buying
Yeah,
or
that's
using.
a very important element, to be honest. I wish it can advance even faster than it has been advancing, so we can actually benefit a lot more from it. So what advice would you have for someone who is about to look into blockchain technology? Maybe this podcast is the first time they hear about it. Maybe your story is the first time they come into contact about blockchain technology and not just cryptocurrency. What advice would you have for someone?
My personal advice is two advices. The first one is to have the courage to step out of the comfort zone. It's like jumping into the ocean. You sit, you watch down. It's 5 meters down.
Yeah.
But once you have jumped, it's done. And the second part is that blockchain is so much more than just cryptocurrency. Give it a chance, explore the different fields, and you will most definitely find a path or a journey that's going to be interesting. And as I said in the beginning, I hope to act as a motivator for many people that doubt on themselves and don't want to take the step for different reasons, but just go.
Yeah, I think you would be an inspiration
to
for people.